Welcome everybody. This is the start of our video blog. I've had a lot of questions about my recipes and how to make certain things and how things taste. A few weeks ago, my husband and I decided to try paleo as a way of life, and it's been pretty great. He's lost quite a bit of weight, and we both just feel really good. The energy level's there. We've reset our palates, and so for me to sustain a diet, I need to know that I can have my comfort foods and still have them be healthy. So this idea of this video channel is to document my recipes, and so that way anybody who's interested in trying can understand what it is to be paleo and how the recipes taste. My commitment to you is to make sure that anything I post has been tested by myself and my husband, and we've given the thumbs up that it's something that we would definitely share with anybody who wanted to try it. So, on the menu today is breakfast, my favorite meal of the day, and one of my absolute favorite breakfast recipes is biscuits and gravy. Living in the South, you absolutely have to have biscuits and gravy to anybody's had it. So here's our cast of characters for our biscuits. We're going to start with that first. Almond flour. Sorry, that one doesn't belong there. Almond flour, coconut flour, baking powder. I have 6 egg whites that I've already cracked here, and then Kerrygold pure Irish butter. You can use ghee in replacement of this, or any other grass-fed butter to keep it natural. Okay, so what I've done here is I've added 6 egg whites to my mixer using the whisk attachment, and I'm going to beat these until they're at a stiff peak. If you have this type of mixer, this is definitely the best way to beat egg whites. It goes really fast. While these are mixing, I'm going to go ahead and start incorporating my dry ingredients so that they'll be ready to go when these egg whites are done. First, we're going to start with 1 cup. We're going to whisk this together. Checking on my egg whites. They are good to go. You know they're good when you pull up your mixture and they form that stiff peak right there. The reason for using egg whites and to put them at a stiff peak is because they will keep your biscuits fluffy. That is a helpful tip to keep any baking recipe fluffy, is to use egg whites and to beat them until they're stiff. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold our dry ingredients straight into our egg white mixture until it's incorporated. And I'm just going to use 1/3 cup measuring spoon, and I'm going to drop these biscuits right on the mat. So here are our biscuits. The way that you put these on, I use a silicone mat to keep it from sticking. You can use parchment paper or any type of cooking spray to keep it from sticking. And I used 1/3 cup measure to drop them onto the mat. Once they're there, you can form them to the consistency that you like. They will bake at exactly how they look. This is not almond flour, coconut flour does not have the same gluten in it that all-purpose flour does, so they will not necessarily rise any bigger or change shape in any way. So the way you form them is the way that they'll look whenever they're baked. You can also make them bigger, smaller, depending upon your taste. I went with larger biscuits because we're going to be having biscuits and gravy, and they're the star of the show. You can also double this recipe and get biscuits for the week because they will keep in the fridge for a few days. Okay, so now that we have our biscuits ready, we're going to bake them in a 400-degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes. While these biscuits are baking, we can go ahead and start on our sausage gravy. Okay, so we're getting ready to start our sausage gravy. Our cast of characters for our sausage gravy are, the basic characters are, we buy Jimmy Dean all natural sausage. You're going to use about half of this, unless you're really doubling the recipe, in which you would use more. Tapioca flour, full fat organic coconut milk. You can also use almond milk. Coconut milk is a little bit thicker and would serve the place as cream. That's why I like that. Salt and pepper, and sage. Now, we like our gravy just a little bit spicy, so I'm going to also add a diced jalapeno to this recipe. Okay, so we're going to start by browning our sausage. I said to use about half a pound of the Jimmy Dean Natural. You can use whatever sausage you like, but if you're going paleo, it's best to do all natural. I use a heavy cast iron skillet. It's the best thing in the world for cooking, well, pretty much anything, but definitely a traditional way of cooking gravy. Right now I'm just breaking up my sausage so that we can let it start to brown. Okay, after your sausage has been cooking for just a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and add my jalapeno to this so it can also cook along with the sausage. You can also add onion or any other vegetable you want to the gravy, or leave it without. Okay, at this point you also want to add a tablespoon of sage so that it can cook with the sausage as well and infuse into that sausage flavor. The idea here is just to get your sausage nice and brown, your jalapenos or vegetables, whatever you have in there, soft. So we're going to let this continue to cook for just a bit. Okay, we're going to go ahead and check our biscuits. They've been cooking now for a little bit. And there you have it. They are perfectly ready. They're golden brown on top. So we're going to go ahead and pull these out, set it aside while we finish up our gravy. Okay, we're ready to finish our gravy. What we're going to do right now is we're going to create our roux. In order to do that, we're going to use 1 tablespoon of tapioca flour. Tapioca flour has a consistency of cornstarch. It'll get quite messy in your kitchen, so just be careful. We're going to sprinkle this directly over the sausage. The grease from the sausage and the tapioca flour will start to react, and that's what will create your roux. So you just use a whisk to kind of whisk that flour all around. Once that's all whisked together, like what I have below, we're going to go ahead and start pouring in our coconut milk. Ideally, you want to use about a cup of coconut milk, but I'm going to go until it kind of looks right. See how it's thickening with that tapioca flour? So as it continues to thicken, continue to add more. And whisk as you go. That's super important. Cool thing about gravy is you can make it a million different ways, and you can also mess it up a million different ways. So you can do it to the thickness of your liking. We like our gravy probably a little bit of a medium thickness, not super thick, but also not super runny. You want it to be able to coat your biscuits. that's the consistency I like, and as you can see, I used probably about 3/4 of the can of coconut milk. You also want to make sure that you turn your fire down to low at this point because it's cooked and you're wanting it to simmer. Now we're just going to season our gravy. You want to use a ton of black pepper and plenty of salt. All right, and there you have it. That's your sausage gravy all ready to go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and plate our biscuits and gravy now that everything's done. So you're going to take one of these nice biscuits. This is the way I plate. Feel free to do what you want. I cut it in half. It's important to note at this point that I want to explain that the biscuits, because they're made with almond flour, have a different texture than regular biscuits. They're still delicious, but it is more of a nuttier, grainier texture. So just go into any paleo dish knowing that you are substituting ingredients, and so the texture won't be as on point as you would see in the comparison. So I have my biscuit cut in half, and I'm going to take a nice big scoop of my sausage gravy and just pour that on top of my biscuit. And there you have it, biscuits and gravy. This is perfect alongside some scrambled eggs for breakfast, and then also all this stuff will keep and will be good the next day too if you decided you wanted to make extra. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks.